and this one was very interesting. And I want to hear your opinion on this
Okay.
first, so I
Sure.
can see whether or not I rant or not. But in the news in the last couple of days, actually yesterday, or no, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, Jay-Z sold Tidal. Remember Tidal, the streaming service that was for the artists, black owned. We're going to do it different. Jay-Z didn't want to put his albums on Spotify. He wanted to just put it all on Tidal. First and foremost, let me ask you something right now. Do you think Tidal was a failure?
Mm.
And then we can
Do I
go from
think
there.
do I think Tidal was a failure? It's hard for me to answer that question, like, because I don't know the financials. I don't know what the projections were. But if you're just asking me on the surface, I would say yes. And here's why. I feel like when Jay-Z gets involved with anything, you know, the expectation for that brand is for it to be through the roof from an image standpoint. It's for people to get involved at the highest level. It's for people to feel like there's someone like them at the helm who's doing it in a way that's not being done elsewhere. So with that, I think Tidal started out really good. I think it started out really good, right? They branded themselves on high quality audio, which I always thought to myself, that makes zero sense. I remember when people was like, yo, the sound quality on Tidal is better than all the other ones. And I was like, dude, what are you talking? Are you stupid? Like, I think it was all a marketing ploy, but I don't want to digress too much. I think they got involved with Kanye on these exclusive deals, right? This was at the height of the exclusive content phase in streaming. I think they started out good. However, I think when Kanye had a split with Jay-Z and they went away from each other and they no longer did exclusive deals, I think the publicity of Tidal went completely awry. No one really cared about Tidal like that. And it's almost like Tidal went away from streaming in terms of what the public cared about, and they went more into content. Think about all the video series with Elliot Wilson, Rap Radar, all of these different things that have been exclusively on Tidal. They went more into video content and playlisting, but more so video content versus streaming, which is what I believe they were originally marketed to be. So if you ask me, was Tidal a failure? Long answer I just gave you. Short answer is yes. You're on
Okay.
mute.
Okay.
You're good.
So let me ask you this. It's been announced that he sold it or sold some of it. I can't tell you, to Jack Dorsey of Square.
He sold most of it. They said the report was he sold a majority stake.
He sold the majority stake. Okay. So do you think that was a good business deal?
For who?
From a standpoint for both parties. Do you or let me rephrase this. How do you feel about that business deal? Jack Dorsey, by the way, is a white guy, which is interesting. It's a white guy that owns Square. How do you feel about that business deal? And by the way, I'm going to say this. Jay-Z is now announced after the two things that he had business deals with. I think the two things that he sold is Tidal, and I believe it was like an alcohol, something with alcohol. He is now a $1.4 billion person. He is worth $1.4 billion. But
yeah, I think,
how do you feel about this business deal?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's Jay-Z, and damn, man, it's a lot of money involved. But to be clear, so Jack Dorsey also owns Twitter. He also owns he owns a lot of shit. But yeah, you're right. But no, and the other thing that Jay-Z sold in addition to Tidal was it was actually his Ace of Spades. He sold part of Ace of Spades to LVRM, whatever. I don't know, Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy. I think that's what it is. LVMH is the name of the conglomerate that owns all of those brands. So yeah. How do I feel about it? I feel like Jay-Z did what any business man who builds a startup does, which is looking for an exit plan. He built up brands, he built up companies in order to sell. Like, I think the problem that and I don't know where you're going with this, but I'll say if I'm Jay-Z, this is a great move. On a surface level, I would say it seems like some bullshit. It seems like some bullshit. I don't really have a problem with the sell of TIDAL to Jack Dorsey. I understand the racial angle that you're going with,
which I'm not. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just mentioning.
You mentioned this.
It's going to prove. I'm gonna make some points after you're
okay.
done.
You mentioned this. So I thought you were going with it. So my bad. Okay. So I understand that aspect. However, what I would say is I think that what TIDAL was a startup that Jay-Z he became a part of, and I don't believe that his intent, which I can never confirm, was to stick with TIDAL for the entirety of his life. I think he built it up to sell it, which he eventually did.
Now let me
same thing with his Ace of Spades brand. But go ahead.
I got to cut you off on this, and I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you think about what I think, and I know the world is going to be a little off guard with what I'm about to say. So, first and foremost, I want to preface my comments like Stephen A. Smith always says. I want to preface my comments. I've said it before on Good in the Hood. Shout out your boy Juice. I said it before. I think Jay-Z is a better businessman than he is a rapper. And I understand, yes, Jay-Z is probably a top rapper ever. Maybe he's definitely on my top 5, top 2. He's not 2. But $1.4 billion as a businessman? How many billionaires are in hip hop right now? Kanye, Jay-Z. So to me, he is showing that he's probably a better businessman than he is a rapper. And that's saying that he's an amazing businessman. I want to make sure I say that. Second thing I want to say is I got my MBA, just like you. You got your MBA too, right? And what a lot of times what the people don't realize is that business is a very ruthless place. Business is a place where somebody can tell you one thing and then they will do something completely different in the interest of money. Why is that significant? What did I call this episode? What did I call this topic? I said, I want to talk about Jay-Z. Is Jay-Z a master manipulator? That's the title of this topic. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean this in a ruthless business way. Now, when Jay-Z announced TIDAL, what did he say TIDAL was? For the artist. Jay-Z said, why are artists going on Spotify and Apple Music, putting their stuff there? We're going to create our own Apple Music and Spotify. That was what was dear to the heart to him. And that's what he was telling people. And that's what made people want to latch on to TIDAL. Then he left. Now he sold it when the money came around. What did Jay-Z do when Travis Scott was trying to say, they want me to perform at the Super Bowl? Jay-Z said, don't perform at the Super Bowl. Don't do it for the NFL. They don't respect Colin Kaepernick. Jay-Z inked a deal with the NFL. What did Jay-Z say he did tell us not to do? What else did Jay-Z do? Jay-Z
stop wearing. He said stop wearing open. He said stop wearing jerseys. I'm wearing button-ups.
He said I'm wearing button-ups. Don't put money to your ear. Don't put money to your ear. There's a disconnect. I don't pop Molly, which is a good thing. This is positive. I don't pop Molly. I rock Tom Ford. I don't put rims in my car. Jay-Z tells us what to do, and we listen. We listen. But then we have to point out. I'm not going to say we have to hold him accountable. We have to point out the moments where it's like, hold on, you told us to do this. Then you sold the company. And now what is TIDAL now? TIDAL is Spotify. So it's like, to me, we have to acknowledge, I think the big point, my big takeaway from this is we cannot continue to put people on pedestals. Like, we all have to have our own minds. We have to all analyze. Just because Jay-Z does something doesn't mean it's right. Just because Jay-Z does something doesn't mean we have to go in that direction, because, and this is not about Jay-Z. This is more about us having our own minds. Jay-Z, at the end of the day, is a businessman, a brilliant businessman, one of the best businessmen in American history. So when money comes around, Jay-Z might switch up. so I wanted to point that out. I mean, because the thing is, I saw on Twitter, Jay-Z, which never tweets, by the way, Jay-Z tweeted on Twitter explaining himself, justifying himself why he sold Tidal.
Oh, I didn't see that. What did he say?
Yeah, I mean, we can pull it up right now if you want to pull it up.
Nah, hold on. I didn't know he did that. Hold on. What? Yeah. Did it make sense? How about that? Did it make sense?
I didn't read it.
All right, hold on. I think his shit is like, we're gonna do it live on the show right now. Damn it.
Yeah, please. You're a better reader than me, so
I actually am not. Yo, what's his
I don't know, actually.
Called?
Let's just say Jay-Z.
It's like Sean. Isn't like S. Dot.
Oh, Mr. Carter. SC. I got it. It's Mr. Carter. At SC. Okay. Which, by the way, that's amazing that he was able to get his name to be called at SC.
What? Seriously? Well, what? Read it out. What do you say?
So you want me to read it?
Did you find? Yeah. Did you find the tweet?
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah. So read that out real quick.
What he said was, this partnership will be a game changer for many. I look forward to all this new chapter has to offer. Jack is one of the greatest minds of our times, and our many discussions about Tidal's endless possibilities have made me even more inspired about its future. This shared vision makes me even more excited to join the Square board. That's interesting. I said,
oh yeah, that was.
I said from the beginning that Tidal was about more than just streaming music, and 6 years later, it has remained a platform that supports artists at every point in their careers. Artists deserve better tools to assist them in their creative journey. So there you have it.
Yeah. So when I hear that, that just sounds like a regular press statement. Then no different that it's coming from Jay-Z's account versus some other white businessman that we don't know the name of. However, I want to play devil's advocate for a second. And this is not really devil's advocate per se, but this is more so how I really feel. And it's like, just because Jay-Z sold majority stake in Tidal does not necessarily change the direction of the brand of Tidal. I want to make that point very clear. I'll say it again. Just because Jay-Z sold majority stake in Tidal does not necessarily mean that the direction of Tidal is changing from what it was originally intended to be. And then secondly, let's be very clear, man. This happens in business. The changing of the guards, the leadership, that changes all the time. The direction of a company changes all the time, right? You can join a company today and their mission can be one thing. 2 years later, they can be under new management and they can be pitched, they can be focused on a completely different mission, and your job may not be as important with that company anymore, right? So I'm not knocking Jay-Z if he does decide, or if he decided, yo, you know, what I originally wanted Tidal to be is not as important anymore. But according to his statement, he's saying that the brand of Tidal, right, which is supporting artists, still remains the case. I'm not familiar with Tidal and the nuances of what they do for, like, at a business level and how they interface with artists to know whether or not that's true or not. But I'm just saying, Jay-Z claims that nothing is changing with Tidal. He just cashed out.
Yeah, but
that essentially that's what happened.
I get that. And Jay-Z, like there should be no Jay-Z slander. There should be no Jay-Z slander. There should be no Jay-Z insult or anything. What I'm trying to point out is money rules business. Money talks.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, Jay-Z can tell you he wants to do this, he wants to do that. This is a big deal. This changes the company. This is a big deal. And what has made it a big deal? You cashed out, which is okay.
$300 million.
we have
if
to
I'm not
remember,
mistaken.
like we have to remember when you always talk about the importance these artists, their voices have. And so when it's one thing for Jay-Z to say TIDAL is going to be a great competitor to these other streaming platforms like Apple Music and Spotify, which majority of the people have. It's another thing to indicate or insinuate that TIDAL is for the people and the other ones aren't, because Jay-Z's voice is so important. He's going to actually make people turn away from Spotify. He's going to make people turn away from Apple Music. So it's like, it's interesting. I'm just going to say it's interesting. And by the way, Jay-Z's going to do that because he has stake under TIDAL. Just like if I had stake under, I don't know, Dream Vision. We have Dream Vision, right? We have Dream Vision Network. Of course, we're going to say Dream Vision Network is better than every other network.
100%.
What we do is we care about everybody else more than everybody else. I have stake in it. And us as human beings have to remember,
correct,
these people have stake in what they support. So like when he talks and says, don't do this, don't do that, he is using his power of his voice to sway you in a certain direction.
Yo, I think to be honest with you, you just touched on the higher point, which is, to me, the problem I have with the term influencer these days, right? And I understand what it means. I understand exactly what it means for social media. However, to me, there's a difference between somebody who truly influences the culture, right? Like what Jay-Z does, he influences culture. And there's a difference between that and somebody who has 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, 50,000 followers, and can get their people who follow them to maybe can get 20% of the people who follow them to click on a link to go buy a brand that they're supporting, right? There's a difference. There's a major difference, right? So I think at the end of the day, what you're touching on is everybody having their own mind. And you said it, and I think that point is very clear. I think people should remember that at all times. Jay-Z is doing what's best for him. And yeah, he may be looking out for the culture as well in certain respects, but let's be very clear. Jay-Z is a businessman and a very savvy one. And as you mentioned on previous episodes, and like you said, you mentioned it on Good in the Hood episode with Juice, which was a underrated point when you said it. I actually disagreed, but I see where you're coming from with that. I see where you're coming from with that, because also another thing, again, Ace of Spades. That deal was another one that went right under the table, went right under people's nose. And I think that one went more under people's noses than the TIDAL deal, because how many of your average people have even tasted Ace of Spades? I mean, think about this. I personally have never had Ace of Spades. That's me personally, me. And I'm not saying I can't afford it, because I'm pretty sure you and I can go to the club right now and go order Ace of Spades. Yeah, it's going to cost a whole lot of goddamn money, but I could if I wanted to. But again, your average person has never had it. So I think that people are not, your average person rather, is not even listening to that deal and being like, oh, that's a big deal.
Here's the point though. Let me ask you something. How many people that do not have the money, that can't afford Ace of Spades, which is pretty expensive, have bought it because Jay-Z said that Ace of Spades is what's in?
A whole lot. Same thing with Duce.
Okay.
Right?
Same thing with Duce.
Right? We forget about Duce.
I do say so myself.
Here you
His
go.
influence has gotten a lot of people. The reason I even know what Duce is because of Jay-Z.
Bro, look, influence, and you know what? Maybe we should have a conversation, not on this show, because I do want to wrap up like this segment personally. Maybe we should have a conversation about all of the things, all of the influencers, all of the people that influence an entire nation of people, and people mindlessly participate in those things that they're saying. Because look, we're all guilty. I came on this show and said, yo, Travis Scott was affiliated with freaking McDonald's. I went to McDonald's and bought the Travis Scott meal solely because of Travis Scott. And I was very conscious of why I was doing it. He didn't make me spend my money, but I said, yo, I want to see what that was about. It's because of Travis Scott.
Do you think Travis Scott eats? Eats at McDonald's as a millionaire every day? Do you think McDonald's is one of his favorite restaurants to eat at? Like McDonald's?
Come on, bro. Absolutely not.
Money talks, guys. Remember that. Money talks. So, like, as an aspiring artist that said, I don't trust Spotify, I don't trust Apple Music, remember, money talks.
Go with what you feel is right. I know some artists out there who only release their music on Bandcamp, where you can only sell your music and your fans have to buy it. If you have a customer base where people are buying your music on Bandcamp and everybody's out there telling you, bro, what the hell are you doing? Why are you not on Spotify? Oh, why are you not on Apple Podcast? Oh, Apple Music, blah, 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 blah. Why are you not on TIDAL? But you have money you're making. Don't let anybody actually sway you if it's working for you. There's plenty of successful artists. There's plenty of successful artists that are doing their thing their way. Amen. Don't get swayed by the pack, bro.
Amen.
Be a wolf. Be a wolf. Don't be a sheep.
Amen.
Put it like that.
Amen.